Welcome back, everybody, for intervention strategies. The preceding strategies will help create a positive climate and minimize mistaken behaviors, but there will be inevitable occurrences of inappropriate behavior. At these times, teachers and adults really do need to step in and intervene. The following intervention strategies will help ensure that guidance is supportive rather than punitive. Some of these strategies, again, are very similar to the prevention strategies that we just discussed. Okay, so make sure that when a mistaken behavior or an undesirable behavior is occurring, that you gain a child's attention in a respectful way. Unless physical danger is imminent, adults should approach children individually and respectfully address them using their name, establishing eye contact if appropriate, and use a calm, controlled voice. Proximity and touch can help children keep from losing control. An adult can help them reestablish control by being close. Sometimes it's just being close or moving your body in between two children to keep things from escalating. Or during circle time, sometimes a teacher's lap, if there's an extra teacher in the room, can serve as an effective guidance and intervention for the child that's having a hard time focusing. Children need lots of reminders. They get distracted easily and can forget. You may feel like a broken record and think that children are purposefully not following previously stated rules, but it may actually be that they just forgot. So there's some examples. Scissors are for cutting paper, the sand stays down low. Remember what happened yesterday when you were running in the classroom. So just remember, sometimes even though it can be frustrating to you, it's okay to constantly remind children of the expectations. And then acknowledge feelings before setting limits. This helps children see you as supportive. They know that their feelings are recognized and are understood. So there's the examples. You look very upset, but I cannot let you hurt Johnny. Or, it's hard to wait for your turn, but the rule is that we wait until the timer goes off for our turn. So redirecting is an effective strategy if a behavior is caught just before escalation. If the situation has escalated, you have moved beyond the point of redirecting and need to help children problem solve. Redirecting is also very effective for toddlers who are, because of their development, easily distracted. Older children need more than redirection. They need the opportunity to learn problem-solving techniques. When facing frustrating situations, it is natural for children to lose control. You cannot engage in problem-solving when a child is crying and yelling, so you may need to wait until those strong emotions have passed before you begin the problem-solving process. So here on the screen, you'll see the problem-solving steps. First, it's important to acknowledge the problem, and I may even add acknowledge the child's feelings first. And then acknowledge the problem. I see there's a problem. You both want the bike. Then post some helpful questions. Have you asked Kenny for a turn? And then move into the demonstration part of problem solving. It's okay, tell Kenny that you would like a turn with the bike when he's done. And then summarize. You wanted the bike, you asked Kenny for a turn, and now, when Kenny's done, it's going to be your turn. And then remind the child of the problem-solving process. And this takes a lot of practice. Children don't always remember the steps in problem solving. They need an adult or a peer model to help them through all the steps of actually problem solving. Okay, offering appropriate choices. When offering choices, they should be posed in a non-threatening and non-punitive way. If you sit quietly at circle, or you can sit quietly at circle, or you can choose a puzzle at the table. You decide. Or, do you want to wait there for your turn, or do you want to find something else to do? And then the use of natural and logical consequences really simply clarify the inevitable or unavoidable outcome of a behavior. So a natural consequence is when something happens because of the behavior, like in direct relation to the behavior. When you forget to put your backpack in its cubby, we can't find it when it's time to go home. Or my favorite example, if you tip in your chair, you may fall over and hit your head. Logical consequences really have to do with safety and with compliance when compliance is needed. So logical consequences. When you cannot remember the rules about playing in the sand, you will need to find something else to do. Redirecting, we're going to revisit just one time. Redirecting was talked about just a minute ago and used only right before the escalation of behaviors. However, sometimes problem solving is just out of the question and a child needs a change of scenery to regain composure. In this situation, this strategy involves changing the circumstances which are causing the unwanted behavior. And this means that adults assume the responsibility for solving a child's problem, and children should be redirected to an activity that matches their needs. So if it's because maybe a child is on sensory overload and they have just lost control because they don't know what to do with all the sound and noise and lights, they need to be redirected to an activity that meets their needs. Maybe a quiet, calm place looking at books that isn't going to be so overwhelming or overstimulating. The last two interventions are really reserved for the more serious situations where children have moved from being able to work on problem solving to complete loss of control. Limiting equipment is often used incorrectly. Some adults would rather just take toys away for improper use than actually teaching a child the appropriate way to use materials. If you do take an item out of the environment, be sure that you return it and teach the children its use. And then holding techniques. I want you to pay clear attention to what I mean here. This requires specific training. You can't just restrain a child just because they're out of control. You need to make sure that you are properly trained and know the right ways and the correct ways to keep yourself safe and a child safe. Holding techniques can and must only be used by individuals who have been trained. School districts do hold trainings that teach staff appropriate use of such techniques. It is, again, never okay to restrain a child without proper training. You are at risk of hurting yourself or the child. Instead, if a child has lost complete control, have another adult remove the remaining children to a safe place, then push all chairs or desks away and the rest of the movable furniture out of the way and allow the child to calm down on their own. Stay close, talk to the child, describe their emotions, practice deep breathing techniques, and use a calm and reassuring voice. So just remember, holding techniques or restraint is only used by trained individuals on a limited basis. Otherwise, it's really just your job. If a child has lost complete control of their body and they are yelling and screaming and throwing chairs, it's your job to make the environment as safe as absolutely possible for you, for the other children, and for that child. Okay, making amends. I have a pretty strong opinion about making amends, and this is where some students disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm all about exploring our own opinions, and it is certainly not my goal to enforce upon you my opinion, but sometimes people do feel that way. You're the teacher, you must know it all. I'm going to listen to everything you say. But here, if you do disagree, it's okay to disagree, but just think about why you disagree. So here we go. Apologies that are forced are really honestly superficial and meaningless. Never force a child to apologize. That feeling of remorse can only come from within. Instead of forcing a superficial apology, have the child get an ice pack if they caused hurt, or have them get some tissue if they have caused harm and the other child is crying. You can model an apology by saying, "I am sorry that happened. I hope that you feel better soon." This allows both parties, the child that has been hurt and the child that has caused the hurt, to hear an apology, a real, genuine, sincere apology. Children who are forced to apologize learn that as a behavior that's going to get them out of trouble. or at least that's how they perceive it. Oh, I apologized, I'm done here. But so think about the use of apologies. If that's an expectation that you have of children, find ways to make sure that it's meaningful and that it's appropriate and that it's really accomplishing the desired outcome. For me, I don't believe you can force a sincere apology. Like, it should come from within, and children are going to use an apology when they mean it. Otherwise, there are other ways to get them to help make amends without forcing an apology. Again, have them ask the other child if they are okay. When they're forced to ask the other child if they're okay, the other child's going to be honest and say, no, you hurt me. I didn't like that. And that is almost just as meaningful and powerful for the child that caused the hurt or harm as an apology. Okay, and in summary, you may find yourself combining several of these strategies to support young children. Just remember that no one strategy is going to be effective in every situation, and these take practice, and they take time, and they take experience, and I'm sure that you have other strategies that may be useful to you too, and I actually look forward to hearing about them. All right, everybody, hang in there. I'll see you online.